is Europe as a whole?
Good morning, my Teaserking family. Well, we'll talk gold, silver, and we'll talk the NFL and college football. Well, silver over 50. Huge, great news. It was 50.33 2 seconds ago. Gold sitting there, 40.28. It had the 10 o'clock drop, and that means good news that now it'll come back up because just before 10, if it drops, it goes up after. So we'll get back to 40.60. It's just amazing. Every day we're like, oh, it hit 3,800. Oh, it hit 3,900. Oh, it broke 4,000. We're like, okay, where's 4,100? Where's 4,200? We're just sitting here waiting and waiting. Oh, it's sitting at 40.25. Oh, well, come on, let's go. I mean, it's funny. It's over 50 and a quarter. Finally breaks 50. Here we go to 100. Now, some people don't understand what's happening, and you just shake your head at them. They're like, oh, well, that's not good. That's, the fiat's collapsing. Well, we know that. We knew that 5 years ago. It's not like it just is a thing that the fiat's crashing. You can't print money without backed by gold and not crash. So what we're doing is we're taking the only lifeboat available on the Titanic, and that's gold and silver. So we're getting off the boat. That's okay. The gold and silver will have the value. And, we'll be fine. We'll be the ones that survive. The economy just needs to switch the medium of exchange this to something backed by gold and silver, not digital. My friend's worried about digital, and I says, well, don't buy it. Again, the mafia is not going to sit there and get rid of dollars because they got to sell their drugs and girls. And that's not going to happen. Well, wait, I'm going to use Bitcoin to buy the drugs. It's never going to happen. They'll always need the dollars. Especially you go to Vegas. What are you going to do? You always need dollars. You go play poker. I go downtown. I got to give them cash. I can't give them they have ATMs because you must give them cash. You can't give them a credit card. So I don't see the dollar going anywhere. The banks are in control. The mafia is in control of the banks. So since that's the key, they need money. The banks aren't going to let the money go away. It might not have a value, but you'll still use it. I mean, I'm going to go to my grocery store. I'm going to go to my restaurants, my barbecue. I like to go there to get news, and I'll go to my coin store and say, are you set up for digital? And when they're done laughing at me, I'll know we're staying, because they would have to be notified you're going to have to change your payment system from, debit, credit cards, cash to digital, right? Which I'm sure they're not set up for. And are you going to have a digital credit card? I don't know. But supposedly, if they come out with a stable coin, it's going to be backed by dollars. Well, then I'll just use dollars. I don't need that. Well, the only way they might get you is a Social Security. You might need digital to collect it, maybe. In which case, who cares? I get it. I just pay my rent with it and my food and a few other items, and off I go. So we'll see. But we know this is coming. We were prepared. We bought our gold and silver. We bought our Mano cards. We bought our Rolexes. Whatever, those are real assets. Those hold the value. And as long as you have them, you're fine. It's the dollar that's worthless. As long as you're getting that concept that it's the dollar that's worthless, then you're fine. All right. So again, here's silver back 50.30. And gold 40.22. I got down to like 40.17. I expect it back. I'm not really worried. It'll go back to 40.50. It had gotten up to 40.55 this morning, so it'll get back there. This is just people who are playing options profit taking. They're shorting it because it went up so much. But then they got to pay the people who ask for delivery who are buying these options now. So these options are being bought. They got to come up with the gold to pay it off. They'll never do that. All right. So good news, gold and silver. We've broken through the big $50 silver and $40 gold, or $4,000 gold. My apologies. Gold next stop 5,000. Silver next stop 100. On its way to 500. So just hold on. You're not profit taking. Please do not profit take gold and silver. That's probably the dumbest thing you could do. Why is it so dumb, Howard? I made money. I bought it at 2,000. It's doubled. Okay. So you want dollars? All right. So I'm going to sell my gold and silver and get back into this crap. Why? This isn't worth anything. This is the last thing you want to get into. You want to get into gold. You want to get rid of your dollars and get into gold and silver. So there is no profit taking because you won't make profit. Yeah, you'll have more of these, but these, as I say, have no value. That's why I'm telling you to get out of stocks before the Europeans and Asians dump their stocks. And once they dump their stocks, there goes the stock market crashing. So hard to believe the stock market's like keeps going up, but that's all bullshit. That's all like the wizard trying to say, well, look how good the economy is, as nobody can get jobs and the recession's huge. You can't sell cars, you can't sell houses. So yeah, tell me about this recession. All right. So that's gold. Titus, good morning, my man. How's everything? I did notice the one you won. It was like $250 or something like that. But this is the week, Titus. This is the week. I got so many. They're coming out of my ears. Mostly college. Pros, I got a few. I did play Philly tonight. There's 3 or 4 others that I like. But college, I'm just loaded on. I mean, I got teams with 2 losses in a row. Don't forget, Penn State and Florida State both are off 2 losses in a row. So those are huge. Those aren't locks. I did play locks earlier in the week with those ridiculous lines. But at this point, they're already set in there. And I know they're going to look funny, but they're the line Sunday night, which I put in, and I posted it to last week. So if you went in Sunday or Monday and you were looking for the Monday night game, you saw these locks. And then I deleted them from last week, put them on this week. Anyway, that's what we have. So let's look at the pros. We've done pretty thorough on college yesterday. The pros, let's take a look. Let's see if we can get some injuries. Now, there's always a few games you don't know. Do you want the team or do you want the total? All right, we start Philly 7-40.5 tonight at New York. Short week, Philly off of a loss to Denver. Denver's playing well. The Giants, you got Hurts against Jackson Dart. Teaser trend a little bit for Philly. You can't really trend the Giants because here's Jackson Dart, and you had Russell Wilson. Now, if it was Russell Wilson, I'd be a little worried, but with Jackson Dart, what are you worried about? He's just going to run. Philly's faster than he is. Philly defense will contain him. And Barkley will love to come back to New York and light it up. So, I don't know. Philly -1. Let's make this the free play. Let's go Philly. Let's go score. Let's go 27-13, Philadelphia. Seems about right. I don't see the Giants getting a lot. Philly off of the loss will be motivated. It's a division game in New York, so there's not a bad travel on Thursday. All right. Much as I hate these Thursday games. Sunday morning from London, Denver, 7.5, 43.5. There are sevens. 7, 43.5. Bo Nix against Fields. Denver, 21-2 with Bo Nix. Play against the JETSs, 20-2 now, but that's kind of with last year, not all with Fields, but really not much different. So you got a real strong Denver and a real weak the JETSs. It's in London. I just think I got to bet the defense here, so it's a probably a better play for Denver. Let's go 24-17 Denver. They got to throw a few interference plays to make the game close so you watch it, even though nobody's going to be watching at 9:30 in the morning. Pittsburgh, 5.5, 37.5 to Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel against Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe Cleveland traded Joe Flacco after 5 games to Cincinnati. I mean, that's just so weird. I mean, because they're in division, so I don't understand. It makes sense for Cincy, although I thought Browning was picking it up the second half of the Lions game. He hit Chase for 2 touchdowns. Looked like he actually knew what he was doing, but in the first half, he didn't look like he knew what he was doing. A small teaser trend to Pitt. Let's see Pitt here with Aaron Rodgers against this tough thing. I'm going to go 20-17 Pittsburgh. Cleveland, Gabriel can move. Pitt's defense isn't there yet. Cleveland's defense is. Rodgers will find a way, but I think it's closer. We'll go through the team. Let's go through the teams as we go. Philly's a B team, and the Giants are a W. Giants with the 25 defense, Philly with the 22. Hurts against Dart, 741.5. So we're going to tease Philly down to 1. That's the free play. Denver's a B team, a 17 defense. The Jets are a W team with a 31 defense. This coach is terrible. The players go out and they all get hurt. Not real smart coaching. Nix against Fields. Huge edge for Nix. Fields will run a little. Denver just played Hurts, so now they get to play Fields, so they should be prepared for it. Denver a B team, and the Jets are a W, and with this defense. So it could be a little more for Denver, but again, it's London and the time change. Cleveland, Pitt. Cleveland a Z team with the 25 defense. Pitt an E team with the 25 defense. Gabriel against Rodgers. Maybe gets a little bit higher. I think the total of 38.5 is is almost too low. Here, I think, and this game should easily be in the 40s. Gabriel is very good. I don't know that Pitt found a defense. They've had 3 or 4 guys injured. You still got TJ Watt, but they haven't really been, laying the load down. So I'm not really sure what to think of Pitt's defense, but Cleveland with Gabriel will score. Cleveland's they're a Z team because they're not scoring, but it's mostly Joe Flacco. With Gabriel, they played pretty well last week against Minnie. That was my lock under last week, was Minnie in Cleveland. But I don't know that Pitt's got the defense they normally do to lock this game under, and it's 38. So I don't know. I got to study the totals a little bit more. I haven't really found my total game that I go, yeah, that's it. I think I found one, but that's it. Indy, 746.5 to Arizona. Arizona, an under team with a 19 defense. They're not scoring with Murray against Jones. I can't even think of Jones's first name. Indy is an A team with an 18 defense. So Indy's been scoring. I want to say Doug Jones, but I know that's a baseball pitcher. Daniel Jones. I don't know. He's not really lighting it up, but on the other hand, they are scoring. They've been running a ball a lot with Jonathan Taylor, and Jones is running a little bit. Arizona showed me nothing in the loss to Tennessee. Granted, it was a fluke, but they weren't. They put up 20 points. They should have put up more. They really didn't get out. It was a fluke interception fumble that got kicked into the end zone and scored. It was not the guy hot dogging. So it was really, but they let him stay around. And Arizona's not showing me. Indy, I think we've got Indy as an A team with an 18 defense and Jones. There's a strong Indy trend or a trend against Arizona. I'm not sure which one it is, but the trend here is Indy. Let's see, what should we're going to put 27 to 17 here. I mean, right now at this league, I've got a lot of lower scorers. There's a few over teams, which we'll get to, but not that many. If we look at this over, there's Baltimore, who isn't, Dallas, Tampa Bay, and Chicago, the Bears. These are your 4 over teams. This is very unusual. Detroit's actually an A team because their defense is a 22. So you really so they're really not an over team, although I still think they're an over team. They're going to score a lot, and their defense isn't that good. I did go to the doctor yesterday. I got my penicillin or amoxicillin, whatever, one of the Cillin people. And I've taken a few, so it's still hacking a little. But I feel better getting that amoxicillin in my system. Anyway. I'm going to leave about 11:30. So we got another hour. Let's see. So Indies, yeah. So Indies seems to be a good team. I'm not sold that they're an A team, but I am sold Arizona's an under team. Harrison stinks. Kyler Murray's running a little bit, but they're not scoring that much. That they should have been up. They should have beat Tennessee like 31 to nothing. Instead, they lose because of what happened. And I think that will have a burden on them. Indy, I think, is good. We'll see. We'll get a better view, but they really haven't beaten anybody yet. They went to the Rams and lost. Speaking of the Rams, 7.5, 44.5. Rams are a B team, 21 defense. Baltimore, the over with the 35 defense. So Baltimore's trouble is their defense sucks. Cooper Rush, I like him. He's better than Lamar. No problem there. Stafford, very good. Small teaser trend on the Rams. Now, right now, I could give you a score based on the injuries we saw last week. Now, if these guys come back, that's a different story. So I'm going to give you the score. Rams 34 with Cooper Rush 14. So I got the Rams by 20. Again, Baltimore's got a 35 defense. They're not stopping the wind, right? They couldn't stop the Lions. They ain't stopping anybody. And without Lamar, they're not scoring. So now they actually become a Z team. No scoring, terrible defense. So that's what Baltimore is until Lamar gets back or Cooper Rush figures out how to dance around for 20 points. And against this Ram team, now it is a 1:00 game. You've got LA going on the coast. So keep that in mind. The next game is the same thing. You have Seattle, Jacksonville, 1.5, 47. And again, Seattle is now playing a 1:00 game on the East Coast, traveling all the way to Jacksonville from Seattle. Seattle's an A team with the 21 defense and Darnold, and Jacksonville is an E team with the 20 defense and Lawrence. They got very lucky to beat Kansas City. These pass interference calls are just ridiculous. I'm going to go Seattle 24, Jacksonville 20. Seattle, good road dog. Yes, the time is going to bother them a little bit, but these are pros versus college, and this is at 1 o'clock, so it's 10 o'clock for them. I think the NFL is more prepared for these cross country games, but they still are cross. Um, I think Seattle is a live dog in the game. I think I like the dog in the game. I'm not sold on Jacksonville being this great team. Trevor Lawrence stinks. What did he have? Like five? I mean, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. He gets like 5 completions. All he wants to do is run. Seattle with a fairly good defense, 21. Jacksonville, I don't buy the 20. KC had receivers wide open all over the place on Monday night. I still can't believe they blew a 14-point lead. But with that said, Jacksonville will probably be a little flat, beating Kansas City on a Monday night. And Seattle. This should be a pretty tight game. Dallas, 349.5 to Carolina. Dallas, the over team with the 31 defense. They miss Micah Parsons. Carolina, an under team with the 24 defense. Probably closer to a W. You got Dak against Steve Young, 3-49. Dallas has been an over every week. I mean, you got to like them over, I think. Carolina, are you going to get points from? You can't really count on Steve Young to get you too many points, maybe 10. I'm going to go Dallas 37, Carolina 17. That's a 54, so that should get over. Look for Dallas to score a lot. Dak has been hitting it. Nobody's guarding whatchamacallit, the other receiver, Pickens. Nobody's guarding him. They're running. I just don't get it. Carolina seems okay, but they don't really score. You can't count on Steve Young. He'll go 5 of 20 for 60 yards or something like that. He's terrible. So your only over team so far is Dallas. All right. San Diego, they go to Miami. That's the third team going West Coast to East Coast. San Diego, 4.5, 44.5. I'm sure that's part of it. San Diego's an under team with a 20 defense, Justin Herbert. Miami, a W team with a 29 defense, and Tagovailoa. San Diego is off the loss to Washington. It's going to be hard here to go to Miami, but they suck. But still, we lost, and now we got to travel to Miami and play. I'm going to say 24 13 San Diego. Again, you've got to take into the count the jet lag. But Miami's defense is so weak. So see what we're doing here. We got San Diego against the 29 defense. We've got the Rams playing a 35 defense. We've got Denver in London playing a 31 defense. And we'll get to the others as we go, but that means they'll be able to move. So Herbert should have a good day because he's facing a 29 defense. So that Miami has no defense. San Diego will come off of the loss, although Harbaugh is such a bad coach. I love when people argue with me about it. Oh, he's really good. Yeah, what has he done? Oh, yeah, he scheduled Michigan without an opponent, and he had the cakest opponents, and they won the national title not playing any good teams. Wow, that's great. Until they played Washington in the title game. New England, 3.5, 45.5 to New Orleans. New England's a B team now with a 20 defense, so they're playing decent Mike Vrabel defense. New Orleans is a Z with the 27. They're not scoring. Rattlers sometimes scores. There's no teaser trend. I'm not buying New England as a road favorite. Total, I don't know what to do with this game. Probably goes over. I don't know. A 27 defense, a 20. Maybe it's an over, but again, I'm not trusting Drake May. He's terrible. Oh, but Howard, he kept scrambling to the right and throwing to making it a one route play that he hit the guy and he dragged his feet. And yeah, okay, but against the normal team, they would have somebody taking care of that sideline. So he's got to go somewhere else, and then we'll see what he does. Oakland and Tennessee. Oakland 3.5, 41.5. This is down from 5. People betting on Tennessee, really. Tennessee's a Z team with the 28 defense. Oakland a W with the 28. Ward against Smith. Smith's terrible. A lot of interceptions. Play against Tennessee is 19-3 the last 2 years, but it's Cam Ward this year. Still a shit coach. Now, why is Oakland a W and Tennessee a Z, and they're both 28 defenses? Because Oakland scores a bit more. So Tennessee's probably scoring 13 points a game, and Oakland's probably scoring 20 points a game, even though the defense is still 28. So what do you do with this game? Do you go over, under, or anything like that? Do you take Oakland? Normally you bet against Tennessee. They're terrible. But I don't trust Geno Smith. And then are they going to score? Well, 28 defenses, you would think they would score, but Cam Ward's terrible. I'm going to say 20-6 for Oakland. Oh, I didn't do New England, New Orleans. New England 20, New Orleans 17. How about that? These are all feels. Nothing scientific, no algorithms. Just watching these games. Doing what no AI can do. All right, now here for some reason, San Francisco goes to Tampa, gets a 4:00 game. This is a huge edge for the Niners, where all those other games they had to play 1:00, which is 10 in the morning. Here the Niners get a 1:00 game for them, 1:30 game. It's 4:25. Tampa 347.5. Frisco an under team with the 20 defense. I believe they get Brock Purdy back or Jones. It doesn't matter. Tampa Bay an over team with the 26 to Baker. Now here's the stat of the day. Tampa Bay in a teaser 21-2. So you got to go with Tampa here. The Niners, I'm not sold. There's, this is the team. Joey Bosa, I think, is out. I think he hurt his knee, so he's not even playing. I don't know who they got left. Baker will pull the game out. I'm going to go 30-20 for the Baker. Very strong team, very underrated. You don't notice them like you see, Philadelphia, Kansas City. Tampa Bay is just as strong, 21-2 in a teaser. And if it's close, they come and win the game. -3, so you get 3. Let's see if we can find a 2.5. I doubt it. If you do kind of 2.5, then we're going to really pound Tampa in 3.5. Now they're all 3s. So now, do we go over or under? Tampa's a good over team. If Tampa were to play Dallas, it would be a lock over. Tampa with the 26 defense, but they score a ton, as does Dallas. So that's the lock you're looking for. Dallas, Tampa. Now we just got to wait till they play each other, or something similar to that. A Buffalo, Tampa, Baltimore, Tampa when they're healthy. Total of 47. Maybe it's an over. Again, being at Tampa, the Niners got to fly all the way there. It's I think it's the longest trip in the NFL, going from the Niners to Tampa or going from Seattle to Tampa, one of those. So again, there's a lot of West Coast going East Coast, so be kind of careful. Green Bay 14-44.5 to Cincinnati with now, what do we got? Flacco starting, I guess. Play against Cincy 19-3, which that's with Joe Burrow. It's hard to use here. Green Bay very strong as a home favorite, and Green Bay, I don't trust. Cincinnati's the Z team with the 31 defense, who didn't look too bad against the Lions at portions. Um, Even Browning didn't look too bad against the Lions in the second half. A couple of passes to Chase were unbelievable. Just get the ball to Chase, and Cincinnati wins this game. Green Bay, a B team with the 21 defense. Cincinnati, a Z with the 31. With the 31, I'm going to go Green Bay 34, Cincinnati 17 with Browning. Total, I think you go over because I think with Browning and or Flacco, they're going to score on Green Bay. Except for that first week, Green Bay played a 40-40 with Dallas. They lost to Dallas lost to the Bears. So it's a toughie. I don't buy Green Bay 14 points favorite over anybody. So I don't know. Detroit goes to KC. KC 2.5, 52. Detroit's now an 8 team. Excuse me, with the 22 defense. Golf against a B team, 21 defense, Mahomes. No big teaser trend there. KC wins at home. This is a game they should cover. Detroit, are they a live dog? They're not a great road dog, Detroit. They're a good road favorite. They're not a great road dog, but they're not the last couple of years a road dog that often. So I went back 2 years on Detroit and KC. The problem is KC's usually 10-point favorites. They win by 3, so they look bad, but they win the games at home. Let's see, KC. I'm going to go KC 34, Detroit 28. I think KC wins. I think Detroit's a live dog. I think the total is definitely a live dog, or definitely a live total, an over total. Detroit's an over team. They like to run and all these little fancy plays. Golf's been very inaccurate. Their left tackle's out. I assume he'll be back this week because it's Kansas City. They did well beating Baltimore, but this is a whole different animal. This is Mahomes. He's not going to run around for you. He's going to eat you alive. Merlin, is this the Merlin? Are you the wizard? I hate Thursday night football, so yeah, I can't believe the Browns traded Flacco. The Browns are goofy when it comes to quarterback. Well, I think Dylan Gabriel is a good quarterback. Well, Merlin, what's funny is they'll sit there and talk about safety for the players, and let's have the kickoff be the stupidest kickoff ever invented because they don't want to get anybody hurt. It's incredibly insane. Every play you've got tackling and blocking, you could get somebody hurt. So this kickoff just is stupid. And if you kick off, it's just a fair catch. What the fuck is that? Play the ball. This isn't, it's like if you're playing baseball and the guy hits a double up the gap, but he raises his hand and he's got to stop it first. No. The play's not really happening. Which I think is stupid. The Browns have no idea what they're doing as far as quarterback. Now, the best quarterback in the draft is going to be Dagio Opava. It's going to be the kid from Baylor, Robertson, or it's going to be the kid from, I think, who's the other one? The kid from Virginia is very good. Those are your top 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and they won't. They're stupid enough to draft Prime Jr. What the fuck was that? He's not even good enough that nobody even wants him. They can't trade him. You traded Flacco, which makes no sense. And then they bring in Bailey Zappi as the backup. So why did you draft Prime Jr. for? He sucks. He clearly sucks. He's got attitude issues. a lot of speeding tickets. So I don't really get that, to tell you the truth. But yeah, the Browns are clueless. Yeah, they need that movie, and they got to bring back Jim Brown. They need Jim to play. Absolutely, very strange. So this in this one, I mean, I think you can play Detroit as a dog. I think they'll stay in there. I think you can definitely play the over. I think that might be better than the dog. Uh, because I mean, look at my score, 34-28. I think that's pretty close. Kansas City couldn't stop Jacksonville. What was that final? It was 31-28 against Jacksonville. You played a 59 with Jacksonville. Here comes Detroit, who's got a much better offense. So I definitely think this is an overplay, more than I would take Detroit as a dog. Detroit will probably be good as a dog. KC's not blowing you out. Mahomes does find guys open and does that. Are they going to pressure Mahomes? He'll read it. This is the difference between Mahomes and Drake May. Mahomes will read the blitz and check out of it to Kelsey if he's got his mind on, or whoever the tight end is, or Pacheco. You can't blitz him like you can blitz these other idiots, the Steve Youngs and these guys. You can't. Those guys you can blitz. They don't know what to do. Lamar has no idea what to do when you blitz him. You can't do that to Mahomes. He will dump the ball off. He'll read the blitz and dump it. And that's why I always say these guys can't read a defense, is because you blitz them and they don't know what to do. It's ridiculous. All right. Buffalo, 4.5, 49.5. I believe they're off of a loss, aren't they? Yes, they lost to, they lost to New England in a terrible game. Again, they couldn't figure out that Drake May every play ran to the sidelines and threw the ball to the one-person pattern. Remind you of C.J. Stroud, rolling right, throwing to a one-person pattern. It was all luck. So the problem is Penix. So we've got Buffalo as an A team, 23 defense, Josh Allen. We've got Atlanta an under team with a very strong defense, 22, and Penix. My score is going to be Atlanta 27, Buffalo 24. Atlanta added the edge rusher from Georgia and the edge guy from Tennessee, who are very, very good first-round picks. That's going to make Josh Allen different, right? Because you're going to get pressure from the ends. Atlanta with Penix. Buffalo doesn't show me a defense. They certainly couldn't handle fucking Drake May. Penix really good under pressure, very, very accurate, and a winner. Here I would say you've got Atlanta as a live dog. Buffalo is a home team. Buffalo does not go on the road as a favorite and blow you out. That doesn't happen. Look for Atlanta and Penix to get the upset here. 22 defense, Buffalo 23. And you still got Madano's out, and then Ed Oliver. They're always out. Madano, I've never seen. He's always injured. He's injured more than Julio Jones. So I think Buffalo scores total of 50. I got a 51. I don't know. Atlanta, they don't really explode on you. Buffalo could go over. Atlanta doesn't score like they should with Penix. Their offensive coordinator has got his head up his ass. So that's the only problem. But I think Atlanta is a live home dog. And that's Monday night. And then our last game is the Bears with Mike Ditka, Jim McMahon, Walter Payton, and Washington. 4.5, 49.5. The Bears are an over team because Caleb runs around with his head on fire. But their defense is 29. I'm very confused. The Bears had a good defense and no offense. Now they're scoring, but their defense is gone. What did Ben Johnson do? Against Washington, B team with the 20 defense, so much better defense. Daniels appears to be back. And under Daniels, Washington's 22-3 in a teaser. Not bad. Washington went to San Diego down 10-0 and wins 27-10. Caleb will be shown the door. Washington looks like they're got a real defense. He scrambles around a little bit, but he doesn't do much. So let's go Washington 31, the Bears 14. So obviously I like Washington there. 22-3 in a teaser really makes me like Washington. I'm not getting a lot. Play against Cincinnati is 19-3, but you can't even really use it because that's with Joe Burrow. That's last year and this year. Tampa Bay 21-2 in a teaser. Gotta like that. Play against Tennessee 19-3, but now you got Cam Ward, who sucks the same as whoever was there last year. Indy's a strong teaser play. Denver 21-2 in a teaser. Gotta like that. And play against the Jets is 20-2, but that's with Joe Namath at quarterback, and now we've got Fields at quarterback. Last year was, Rodgers and whoever. And then nothing really on Philly and the Giants. Philly is off the loss to Denver. The short week, Barkley coming home, and basically Jackson Dart. Who the fuck is he? Why are you playing him over Russell Wilson? Are you out of your mind? You got Russell Wilson. Play him. He's won Super Bowl. Like, are you fucking kidding with Jackson Dart? So that's your teaser trends. Free play. Take Philly tonight. Is it a great play? No, because it's Thursday night. It's a good play. It's a solid play. You're betting Philly's defense and Barkley. Hurts can't do anything. All he does is run the push-tush. Very ineffective quarterback. I love when the coach thinks, oh, he's an elite quarterback. Yeah, sure. In what world is he an elite quarterback? And then you got Denver on Monday. So let's go through the scores. Philly 27-13, Denver 24-17, only because it's in London. The Rams 34-14 over Baltimore. Seattle 24-20 over Jacksonville. Very live dog there. Dallas 37-17, playing Steve Young. Pitt 20-17, pretty defensive game. New England 20-17, not much offense really. San Diego 24-13 over Miami, off of a loss. Indy 27-17 over Arizona. Indy's, let's see who they are. I mean, I still don't know. They played at the Rams. The Rams did beat them, so give the Rams a lot of credit. Oakland 20-6 over Tennessee. Tennessee's just a Z team. Tampa Bay 30, San Francisco 20. Again, Tampa Bay's very strong team, which nobody knows about. Green Bay 34-17 over Cincinnati. Cincy is a Z team, no defense. I don't trust Green Bay anymore. Their coach has his head up his ass. KC 34, Detroit 28. Sounds about right. Atlanta 27, Buffalo 24. In Atlanta, Buffalo looked like shit against New England. I don't think they're going to get any better in Atlanta. And Washington 31-14 over the Bears and Mike Ditka. So that's what we have in the pros. I don't really have a lot. I might lock a couple of games that I think will be good. LA, Baltimore, we got to check the injuries. If everybody's still out, but that's the point, is the line's already there, LA -7. They're already factoring the injuries. Now, again, LA, it's a 1:00 game for them. Seattle, it's a 1:00 game for them. San Diego, it's a 1:00, and I'm talking Eastern time. So they're 10 o'clock games for those three. Frisco gets lucky. They play the 4 o'clock game with Tampa, and that's it. So 2 Monday night games. God knows why. Uh, it, it's so stupid. But that be your college, or that be your pro. I'm thinking about college. So not an easy week. I think we're still trying to figure out, like, well, let's see who's knocking me here. All right, I'm not leaving at 11:30. So that's what you get. Let's check, see if we can get some injury news on Baltimore, but we probably don't get it until really Friday night. Merlin, can you explain your team grades? Like, what is an E team? Sure. I'm looking at offense and defense, and I'm trying to grade where people will do strength of teams. I'm looking at, how do I bet this game? And the best way I can do it is I got to know what the team is. So we know Philadelphia, they're strong without grading it, or Kansas City. But how do you grade Carolina, and how do you grade Indy and these teams? So I'm looking at points, and in pros it's easier because in the pros I'm in the pros they don't play, like in college they play the high school teams, Delaware State or something, and they win 70-0. So what are you going to do with that? I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just throw the game out because it's not real. They're not playing an A team. But in the pros, even though they're playing a Z team, a terrible team, you that. So an A team is good offense, good defense, and I get that from the stats. So a team that scores 30 points a game and gives up 20 has a good offense, has a good defense. They're an A team. And most of those we know. Kansas City, Buffalo, Philadelphia. The Z team is the team that has no offense and no defense, sort of like New Orleans. They're not going to score, and their defense sucks. So we're really trying to see that. Now, generally you probably know that, but okay, so my Z team, for example, is Tennessee. No offense, Cam Ward stinks. The defense is a 28 defense. So I'm using the numbers to tell me how bad their defense is. 28 defense. There's a 31. Dallas with the 31. Now, the difference is Dallas can score 31 and give up 31, so they become an over team. So I'm lining up, how do I want to bet these teams? And when I see Tennessee, the difference is they give up 28, but they don't score. But Dallas gives up 31, but they score 31. So you expect, so when you grade a team over, you were expecting them to score a lot and have a weak defense. The Z team has no offense and no defense. So we're looking Art of War to bet against them. We're saying this team sucks, like I did last week. Well, actually, I took the under in the Arizona-Tennessee game, but like this week, Oakland and Tennessee. Well, I don't really love Oakland, but maybe Tennessee, Indy. I would bet on Indy. They seem to be playing well. Or Houston, Tennessee. Just that was my lock a couple of weeks ago. Houston, Tennessee. Houston 0-3, had to win. Great defense. Tennessee's the Z team. The spread was 6, so I played Tennessee. I played Houston even because I know Tennessee's not going to score, especially on that defense. And Houston won 24-0. So that's how I use it. To analyze the game. It's basically, I know Tennessee's not going to hurt me with their offense, and I know their defense sucks. So I'm trying to understand the team. Now, in the pros, I'm pretty good at probably not needing the grades pretty much because my mind will, I know most of these things. I came up with scores right on the fly that are going to be pretty accurate. It seems like Pittsburgh, what are they? And this is where it helps. Pittsburgh is an E team. Okay, to answer your question, they score 25 a game with Aaron Rodgers, but they give up 25 a game. So they're not really an A team because their defense isn't as strong and their offense isn't that strong. They're not an over team because their defense is 25. They're not scoring 30 points a game like a Detroit, like a Green Bay, maybe. Um, but so they score in the mid 20s and they give up in the mid 20s. So what do I do with them? Well, they're not an A and they're not a Z, so they're in the middle, and that's the point of it. So you're trying to establish what these teams are. There's not a lot of E teams. In fact, I think Pittsburgh's the only one. Jacksonville's the other one. They're teams that score about mid 20s. So where Buffalo might get 30 or Dallas might score 30, they're not that high, but their defense is not giving up 31 and it's not giving up 10. So your best defensive team is Denver, gives up 17. They're a B team because they score, let's say, 26, 27. So I call them a B team. Maybe I think they score 25, give up 17. So a team like Denver, well, I know I don't really need the grade for them. I know Bo Nix. I know they're good. I like Sean Payton, but they got a killer defense. So a lot of the Denver, if I'm going to play them Sunday, is because they have a 17 defense. It's going to be hard for Fields, but the Jets defense is a 31. So Bo Nix should have an easy day because you want to know is what's going to happen. How is the quarterback going to play? Well, if he's playing a weak defense, 31 defense, he should have a picnic. However, for Fields going against the Denver 17 defense, he's going to have a hard day. Well, that's what we want to know, how one team's going to move on the other team. Now you throw in London because we don't want to get the players injured, but we want to play Thursday night games and we want to play fucking games in London and on the moon and Saturn and Pluto. Maybe they'll play on Mars and they can see Arnie Schwarzenegger there doing Total Recall. I was just watching that movie. That's the point of it. It comes much better in college because we got 130 teams. And if you can tell me what Jacksonville State is off the top of your head, I'll applaud. Now it's easy for Ohio State and Penn State and USC. We know what they are. It's what's Indiana, what's Illinois, what's Missouri, what's Houston, what's Baylor. And that's really what and so in college, it works much better. So that's pros. When I go to college and I go through all these teams, okay, Clemson plays Boston College. What are they? Well, Clemson's an under team because they have a 20 defense and they're not fucking scoring because their quarterback sucks. Boston College is an over team because they're scoring and they give up 31 a game. So did you know that before the grade? Hell no. Nobody knows that before the grade. You would think Clemson's an A team, but they're not because they don't score. And Boston College scores a lot, but gives up a lot. Well, that's what you're doing. Now, the next key is to throw out the high school games. When Boston College plays, Seattle State, they win 62-0. That gets into the trends, and that's what we got to take out. So lately, I've been looking at the last 4 games, the conference games, kind of throwing out the Seattle State games or Murray Wright or whatever, throwing those games out because they do skew. Now, as we get more games, I'll just look at the conference games and say this is who they are. Like an Iowa State, Kansas, Texas Tech looks really good. And so I try to bet against the Z teams, what I think are Z teams. I try to bet the overs when they play each other and the unders when they play each other. So case in point, our free pick is Oklahoma, Texas. 2 very strong defenses, Oklahoma with the 7, Texas with the 12. We saw Oklahoma beat Michigan. We saw Texas, Ohio State, both great defenses and no quarterbacks. Matera, the Oklahoma quarterback's got a broken bone in his hand. Hey, he'll try to play with the brace, but how good is he going to be? And Texas still has a great defense. So that turns into an under game, and that's the free play. Go under in the game. I saw it's 43.5 today. Now, I did bet it at 56 on Sunday because I knew it was crazy. I seen a 56 at one of the casinos, so I immediately made the bet. That's what's posted, but just realize that that's what I did, and that's why I bet early, because I already know what's going on. And then if I see that, and the line went from 56 to 46 and now 43. So that's what it is. Still bet it under. But that's where I get it from. Great defenses, no quarterbacks. Arch Manning's terrible. He's the Heisman Trophy winner and the number 1 draft pick. Did you see the kid at Baylor who's 100 times better, or Daggio who's 1,000 times better? Are you guys fucking kidding me? Georgia Tech, Haynes Kings. So, all right, so let's go to Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. Well, what's the grade on them? You have no idea. I have no idea until I go through it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm bringing in the stats and then trying to remember who they played and then trying to come up with what are they. So I got Virginia Tech as a W team with the 28 defense. I got Georgia Tech with an A team with the 21 defense. Haynes King's gonna pound them pretty good. They got a great running attack and a great coach. So Georgia Tech, 21 defense. Virginia Tech's just playing terrible. You're laying 14. Do you want to lay 8? Do you want to go over under 55? But at least now Georgia Tech's an A team. They did beat Clemson. And here they play Virginia Tech. And they're undefeated, Georgia Tech. So that's where it helps you. Nebraska, Maryland, it grades it. Iowa State, Colorado. You will never know how good these teams are if you don't grade them. That's the point of the grade. The E team is something I can't figure out. Like an A team, like Ohio State, they're an A team. They score about 30. They give up 5 a game. Great offense, great defense. They're an A team. But when you get to if we get to Kansas State, they score 25, they give up 25. Well, they're not really an A team. They're not really a B team. They're not really a Z team. A Z team scores 10 and gives up 30. So I don't know where to put them. So I just made an E team more for me because I know, they're going to score 25, give up 25. Like Kansas State, they have a 27 defense. They probably have a 25 offense. So I know what type of game their defense is kind of weak. They're going to give up points, but they can score some, mostly for the totals. Now I'm looking for Z teams to bet against, and I'm looking for A against A to bet on. We got under games. We got South Carolina, LSU. Neither team can score. Both have great defenses. That gets you to an under. And that's the logic. Oklahoma, Texas, both teams with a great defense. Neither team has a quarterback or an offense. So now I'm going to bet the game under. So that's what all the grading does, is it gets you into understanding, how do I want to bet the game? We're here to make money, but we got to know what the team is. You cannot bet football if you don't understand what the team is. Great defense, great offense. So there's offensive teams like Purdue. Very strong offense, very weak defense. They're an over team, but they'll score 30-something on you. Good quarterback. So you know how to bet Purdue. They're probably a decent live dog. We saw the Notre Dame game where it was 80 points. We saw them against USC. So we've seen them against good competition. They're a decent team, a good quarterback. And so here they're laying 8.5, or they're getting 8.5 from Minnesota, who's not that strong of an offense, who's got a 21 defense. Purdue should be able to hang in there, and in a teaser, you get 14. So you can trust Purdue with their offense to score, but since they're playing Minnesota, who doesn't have that strong an offense and really doesn't have that strong of a defense, that's where you get produced probably a live dog. So you can go game by game and you can see what are they going to do? What's Nebraska going to do against Maryland? What's Iowa State going to do against Colorado? And you're looking at defenses and you're going like that. And that's all you're doing is going one to the other, but it tells you how to bet the game. It tells you Arkansas, Tennessee, total of 68. Both teams, great offenses. Both teams, shit defenses. They're both overs. We should get a high scoring game in that game. Now, it doesn't always happen, but we should get it. Tennessee, we know they played Georgia, that 82-point game, 42-40. You should get something similar against Arkansas. So because you know the value of the team, you're able to bet it. So that's it. So I hope that makes sense to you, Merlin. Titus, thank you once again for class. That's my pleasure, Titus. How long will Cam Rising be out for Utah? Why is he still there hurt like Julio Jones? Yeah, he's retired. When he hurt his hand on the Gatorade bottle or bucket, I guess he broke something and he just can't throw. So he basically retired. Tyler Van Dyke's at SMU with his knee that he hurt last year against fucking Bama. So I don't know how long he's out for, but SMU's not using him. They're using Jenkins, but they do have Van Dyke. He's still an excellent quarterback. But no, Cam Rising's gone. He's retired. He's like that other guy on UCF who was really good, Mackenzie Milton, and he hurt his knee and he just tried to come back and he just can't do it. He was freaking out. You could see in the pocket he was freaking out, worried about his knee. So yeah, he when you get that serious injury, but it wasn't the knee; it was the hand on the Gatorade that got him out. All right, so we're looking at the Baltimore injury because we want to know, should we take the Rams -1 or is Baltimore's players going to be ripped back so we can't? So we look at the Rams. This is 10-8, so this is yesterday. A safety, questionable. A tight end I never heard of, questionable. A linebacker, doubtful. A linebacker, questionable. Tyler Higbee, tight end we've heard of. And Haverstein. Those guys are questionable for the Rams. The Rams are pretty healthy. Let's go to Baltimore. Yeah, their list is quite a bit longer. So we got Zay Flowers, questionable with the shoulder. I assume he'll play. Marlon Humphrey, a quarterback, is questionable with the calf. Kyle Hamilton, the Notre Damer, questionable with the groin. Roquan Smith, the linebacker, number 0, questionable with the hamstring. Ronnie Staley, the tackle, questionable with an ankle. Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback, questionable with the hamstring. Lamar, questionable with the hamstring, but we know he's not playing. He's out 2 weeks, I was told, but we'll see. Devontae Walker, a wide receiver, questionable with an oblique. Joseph Notebloom, what kind of name is that? Questionable with an ankle. So you've got a lot of, you've got Lamar, Awuzie, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, and Zay Flowers. So you can't really make a move on what's going on. You know Lamar's out. But if the 3 guys on the defense come back, then maybe you're not going to play the Rams. If they're out, then maybe you do play the Rams because you saw what happened to Baltimore last week. So again, there's where injuries play a key role in it, is you've got to know what to do with it. So Baltimore got killed by Houston 44-10, who never scores. It takes them a month to score 44. They lost to KC 37-20. They lost to Detroit 38-30. They beat Cleveland and lost to Buffalo. So a lot of the reason is their totals are high on defense is because you played Buffalo 41, Detroit 38, Kansas City 37, and Houston 44. So Baltimore's really bad, but it's their defense. So when you look at the Detroit game, 38-30, that's about what you're expecting in the Detroit-Kansas City game. Houston 44-10. The Rams, on the other hand, beat Houston with the tough defense 14-9. Tennessee, who sucks, 33-19. Lost to Philly on the stupid field goal. It got blocked 33-26. They go beat Indy 27-20, who's very good, and they lose to the Niners somehow because the kicker on purpose misses the extra point. And they got to get rid of that kicker. So that's your injury look, but they're not official yet. Today's Thursday. The real injury list really comes out tomorrow night. But with the Philly Giants, then let's look at what that injury list looks like now. So we'll view all injuries. Now I'm on Yahoo, and I go into the box score, and then you look, and it says all injuries somewhere. And so these are the injuries. So Philadelphia, some tight ends out with an oblique. Nakobe Dean from Georgia, our linebacker, is questionable with the knee. Jalen Carter, nose tackle, questionable with the heel. Landon Dickerson, guard, out. I would assume the Georgia guys will play. Carter's been playing. I don't know about Dean. And that's where it gets it. He's got questionable with the heel. So if he's playing, he's got a bad heel. So that's why sometimes you might not look perfect. The Giants, linebacker out, never heard of. Safety is on PUP. Offensive lineman questionable with the back. Darius Slayton, wide receiver, out with the hamstring. And that's it. So what we don't know is your starting dart, not because Russell Wilson's hurt. Scatterboo seems fine. The running back, Perkins, I'd rather have Scatterboo than Perkins. So your really only guy is Slayton, the wide receiver's out. But what I don't like is where's Neighbors? He's out, but they're not listing him because he's not on the injured list. So that's where you got to know. Same thing with Joe Burrow. He's not on the injured list, but obviously he's out for 3 months. So 2 wide receivers are out. And here comes Philadelphia. Well, good luck, boys. All right. So anyway, that's the last part of the pick is who are you got, right? Who's my players? Oh, I'm missing Lamar. Well, that makes the bet a whole different. You're betting on players, and hopefully they're playing. How long? Well, okay. Flowers was good for UCF. No, he was good for South Florida. Quentin Flowers was their quarterback at South Florida that I kept doing. Mackenzie Milton was good for UCF till he tore his knee up. All these injuries, are they taking this shot? Well, in the NFL, when they're questionable, yeah, they're taking the shot for the hamstrings and the shoulders and stuff like that. They're taking the shot as long as it's not going to hurt them anymore. Now in North Dallas 40, the kid took the shot and they beat him up and broke his nose. But that happens. But depending on what the injury is, normally they will take the shot because at the end of the day, they want to play. And if they don't play, somebody else will play, and he might look really good, and they might lose their spot. So generally, in the pros, Like Barkley has a little knee problem, right? Something minor. Well, he might shoot up for that because it might bother him, but they know it's not serious. So, yeah. Yeah, I always wanted Flowers to play. You couldn't tackle the guy. He would do a 3rd and 1, and he'd make a move on a defensive end. It would have him dead to rights. He'd make a move, and the guy would whiff, and he'd get the first down every time. I thought he would be a great goal line runner, just like the Army quarterback Daly from last year. If I was GM on any team, I would bring that guy in. Any 4th and 2, any goal line, 2nd and 5 at the 5, I'd bring that guy in and have him run the option. You never tackle the guy. He had a nose for the end zone. He had like 35 touchdowns last year for Army as their running quarterback. So it's much better than this push tush because he actually can find. You don't know he's running. Hurts is going to run that play. And the other thing is the Army guy, he can go left or right. He's going to find the hole. So you can't just stack up knowing he could throw too. So I would have drafted Daly from Army and let him do his magic. Good luck on that. All right. So college, 2 games yesterday. Missouri State did beat Middle Tennessee. Let's get to that. Missouri State was the favorite. So Missouri State wins 22-20 over Middle Tennessee. So Missouri State was a W and a road favorite. Middle Tennessee's a Z team. And again, it's hard for a W to be a road favorite. And there you would have won with Middle Tennessee, even though they're a Z team. The other game was Liberty 19-8. Liberty an under team, UTEP a W team. Shitty game. That's why I have no interest in Conference USA. I got so many college games. It's going to be fun. We are going to have fun on Saturday. This is the week, Titus, to do 10 out of 10. If you're ever gonna find it, it's this week. It's just fucking loaded. Unbelievable. I got overs, I got unders. So let's go through tonight's games. I love the hacking cough. We got LTAC 6-45. It's up to 46 on Kennesaw State. LTAC's a B team. Kennesaw State's an under team. So the better team's LTAC. It's on a fucking Thursday night. Tulane 6.5, 53.5 to East Carolina. East Carolina's an A team, the 13 defense. Tulane's an E team with the 24. Tulane played a little harder schedule than East Car. East Car has Hauser from Total Recall, who's the quarterback. Tulane, always a good team at home. You hate to fuck with them at home in New Orleans. So very even game. Maybe you can take the dog, but I'm not. I hate these Thursday games. Jacksonville State 7-54 to Sam Houston. Sam Houston's a Z team. Jacksonville State's an over team. So now that is okay. You could play Jacksonville State because you know they're going to score. They got a 27 defense, but Sam Houston's terrible. They're a Z team with a 41 defense. So Jacksonville State should win, and they're only laying 8, and you're going against the Z team. So the only problem is it's Thursday night, which may be bad, maybe not. And then you got Southern Miss is 3.5, 59.5 to Georgia Southern, both over teams. Georgia Southern with the 37 defense, and Southern Miss 26 is Marshall Jr. So the Marshall coach and quarterback quit and go to Southern Miss with 47 other players from Marshall. Marshall stinks this year, but Southern Miss has all their players. Titus, you are the man, Professor. Seems like you're going to sweep the board. Well, by now I have a lot more comfort in who's who. Like, for example, Texas Tech's 14 over Kansas, total of 60. Well, before I'd be all over Kansas getting 20 points. No, I'm not. Texas Tech killed Utah, won another game over Houston, and their defense looks real. So it's very, I'm avoiding playing Kansas in 20, which I would never do before. So understanding the teams a lot better, because now we have about 5 games in. Everybody played the high school game, so you throw that out. So we got about 4 or 5 decent ones, and they're starting to play the conference play. So we get a better idea of who they are. So yeah, this could be a run. This certainly could be a run the board weekend. It looks just like, okay, yep, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. Over, under, so we'll see. I'm leery to play the Friday night game because every time I play it, I lose. It just doesn't make sense. But there's a Friday night game I'm staring at. So let's look at the Friday night game. South Florida, North Texas. North Texas, 1.5, 66.5. This game I don't think it'll go over. I think the number's too high. They're both 8 teams, and they both have 22 defenses. This is not an over game. Yes, North Texas is explosive. South Florida played, shut out Boise. It was 24-7, and they played Florida like 17-16. Even Miami didn't really blow them out, although they put up like 30 points on them. North Texas is really more of an A team than an over team because they don't have the 30 defense. So I'm not buying this 67 total. So I'm not going over. Rutgers, Washington, 10.5, 59.5. Okay, Washington must win. Rutgers, as we saw, is not the under team they normally are. They played a 60-point game with Iowa, for Christ's sake. Then they played another big game, I think, with Minnesota, another high-scoring game. So Rutgers is not the strong 10 defense they normally are under Schiano. Washington, we saw them. They did beat Maryland last week, 28-24, had to go cross-coast. Did play Ohio State. They did move the ball on Ohio State, but good luck scoring on Ohio State. I thought the play calling got terrible down by inside the 10-yard line. Washington will move the ball here, and they are at home, and they lost to Ohio State, so they must win. Rutgers is okay, but nothing special. And our last game, Fresno State, 6.5, 48.5 to Colorado. This game moved from 45 to 48. Betting it over. Let's see if it makes sense. Fresno State, a B team with a 20 defense. Colorado State, a W with the 27. I don't see why it would have moved from 45 to 48. Fresno State, Kurt Warner Jr., but they're running the ball good. Their defense is a 20, so they're playing better. Colorado State's a W with the 20. Colorado State's not good. So probably a Fresno State play. But as far as the total, I don't know that I would have bet the game over at 45 to knock it up to 48. And the last play, which I'm not sure if it's Friday or Saturday, SMU 18.5, 55 to Stanford. Stanford pretty bad, 30 defense. SMU, I haven't heard much from them this year. A B team with the 25 defense. I'm not sure their quarterback Jennings is all that. Let's just UCLA, Michigan State, 8.5, 55.5. I do not believe UCLA will be flat for this game. Now, the only problem is it's a noon game, so they're going to play at 9 in the morning is the biggest problem. But I think UCLA will wake up about halftime. Michigan State doesn't have a great defense. They got a 30 defense, UCLA at 32. That's the thing, but the team I watched beat Penn State 42-37. Yeah, I want to bet on them. And if the kid is the offensive coordinator, he knows his shit. You don't put up 42 on Penn State. They will light up Michigan State here. UCLA is this line should be 65, it's 55 because they're looking at UCLA the whole year, but they scored 42 on fucking Penn State because they switched coordinators. Vegas can't comprehend that. So Vegas is always going to be off on this UCLA team. Michigan State played a high-scoring game with USC. It was like an 80-point game there. So, don't overlook UCLA, right? They're the flavor of the month now. Ohio State 14, 49.5 to Illinois. Good luck scoring on Ohio State's all I can say. Illinois is a good team, but they're not in Ohio State's league. Houston 14.5, 46 to Oklahoma State. Houston, the B team, but they're not scoring. 18 defense. Oak State's a Z team, freshman quarterback who sucks, and you fired Gundy. So you can't take Oak State here. Alabama, 351.5 to Missouri. This one's got me thinking. Missouri, I don't know. I thought they were more explosive. And then they played South Carolina 29-20, and I'm like, really? So I had Kansas overrated. So when they beat Kansas, but then they got the late touchdown, which made it 42-31, when really it's 35-31. They win by 4, and then they don't look as menacing. So I'm not buying Missouri. Alabama, I'm buying. They just beat Georgia, and they beat Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's got to have a better offense than Missouri. And they held Daggio down pretty good. So I think Alabama's, you're only laying 3. That line just reeks of a 7, and it's 3. And Missouri, I don't know. I don't smell what they're cooking there. Lou Lafayette, James Madison, 1745. People are betting the under here. Lou Lafayette's an over team with a 32 defense, and James Madison an A with a 13. I don't know. James Madison let us down last week. I don't know. Old D's the team we need to bet on. UCF, Cincinnati, 11.5, 53. They're playing very good ball. UCF is not a strong Big 12 team. Florida State, 10.5, 58.5. This is an interesting game. Florida State has lost 2 in a row. Virginia got them, pretty high scoring game. And then Miami last week, pretty high scoring game. Pitt, very high scoring team, 20 defense. Florida State played all high scoring games. Even the Alabama game was high scoring. So they don't have this 10 defense. That's why I show the defense. They're both 20 defenses. So on one hand, you got Florida State off of 2 losses in a row. They're going to be on fire. The other hand is, but Pitt has a good offense, and Florida State's defense isn't that killer. So these should get points. Again, Virginia lit them up, but they have a great quarterback. But so does Pitt. Pitt's got a good quarterback, Eli Holstein. So it's either Florida State or it's over. Take your pick. But again, off of 2 losses in a row, look out for Florida State. Army and Charlotte. Army 17.5, 47.5. Army an E team. I don't like their quarterback. Charlotte is a Z team. Enough said. Ole Miss, 32.5, 58 to Washington State. Washington State's a W, 28 defense. Ole Miss, they don't have a good quarterback. They have a running quarterback. So he's a good runner, but he's not a good quarterback. I don't know what to do with that. Northern Illinois won 46.5 to Eastern. Eastern's an over team. Northern Illinois is an under team. So you got that. Kent and UMass. Kent 351. And you've got, they're both Z teams with terrible defenses, as that's why they're Z teams, right? So kind of, do you take Kent and just keep betting against UMass? Probably. Old D Marshall, here's my boys. Old D, 14.5, 56. Old D an 18 with a 14 defense and a good quarterback. And Marshall an over team with a 31. So the question is, if you take Old D, is Marshall going to score on you? Well, let's take a look at this. I think I tried yesterday and I couldn't. If you scroll down, okay, they show. So Marshall lost to Lou Lafayette 54-51, beat Middle Tennessee, as we saw, was a Z team, 42-28. Eastern Kentucky doesn't count. Missouri State, they lost to 21-20. And the only game they actually played, they lost to Georgia 45-7. Old D lost to Indiana 27-14, which is looking better and better. Played a high school team 54-6. They beat Virginia Tech 45-26, which makes us keep an eye on Virginia Tech. They played Georgia Tech. They got killed by Old D. Then they beat Liberty 21-7 and Coastal Carolina 47-7. So Old D is a very strong team. Their only loss is by 13 at Indiana. You got my attention. And when you look at Marshall, okay, Lou Lafayette, they gave up 54 points, and you beat Middle Tennessee 42-28. Beating Eastern Kentucky doesn't count. You lost to Missouri State. So the last two games, Middle Tennessee, who stinks, and then you lost to Lou Lafayette 54-51, which I don't know if it was triple overtime or what happened there. I guess not, because they won by 3, so it can't be overtime. So that shows you that Marshall is starting to score, but giving up a lot. And Old D with a pretty good defense. So again, you probably like Old D more so than going over. It could get over. But Old D's got a pretty good defense of 14. So that's where you kind of draw the line on the over. Notre Dame 22.5, 60.5 to NC State. NC State's actually an over team, 25 defense. They score. Notre Dame a B team. I'm confused with Notre Dame because they were playing over games. Miami, A&M, Purdue, and Arkansas. And then last week, 4 interceptions of Boise, and it's a 28-7 game. This should probably be high scoring. Again, it's at Notre Dame, so, Jesus will be there. He'll be at the 50-yard line. You don't know. Notre Dame's going to score. NC State doesn't have a great defense. Seems to have a good offense, so probably be high scoring again, 61. Oklahoma, Texas. Texas 1.5, 43.5. That's your free play. Go under. Too strong deal. You got a 7 defense and a 12 defense. That's all I got to say. Wait, see, the stats tell you what to do most of the time, but you got to understand the stats are accurate or not. So when they get that high school game, you got to take it out and get to your number and see that, yeah, that's the real number. Because when they beat a high school team 63-0, it makes their offense better and it makes their defense better. But that might not be the real team. You want to get to the real team. But in this case, Oklahoma, Texas, again, we saw Ohio State and we saw against Michigan that they are good defense. Wake and Oregon State, Wake 351. Wake's a B team. Oregon State's a Z team, but at home, and Wake's got to travel. Indiana, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Oregon 7.5, 55.5. Is Indiana a live dog? You're always scared at Oregon. the travel. This is a 3:30 game, so Indiana shouldn't be too bad. 55 total. I think you'll get points in the game. Although here's where it's tough: is both defenses. Indy's a 10 and Oregon's a 12. Oregon with the Penn State game was 17-17, and Indy with the killed Illinois, but didn't give up any points, and then played Iowa, which is a defensive team anyway. So not really sure. 55-49. Do we, what score do we get? I got a feeling this will be a higher scoring game. I don't think you can hold these teams with good offenses. Penn State doesn't have a good quarterback, and you can see that. And Indy's explosive as shit. They're going to run it down your throat, and we'll see. But they both have good defenses, so it could go either way, offense or defense. Western 9.5, 42.5. Western's an under team. Ball State is a Z team. So here you can go against the Z team with Western Michigan. App State, Georgia State. App State 1.5, 55.5. And again, the Z team here is Georgia State. Northwestern, Penn State. Penn State 21.5, 47. Off of 2 losses. They lost to Oregon and then UCLA. If you're looking for a reason to bet, this is the game. Penn State, in a must-win game, lost 2 in a row at home against Northwestern, who's a very weak team, an under team with a 17 defense. But I look for Penn State to just put a can of whoop ass on them. This is what you are waiting for off of 2 losses. Sometimes we bet a team off of a loss, and then they lose again, and then you don't bet them. This is the perfect off of 2 losses at home against a weak team in Northwestern. So this is the perfect play. TCU, Kansas State. TCU 1.5, 55.5. TCU very strong, 21 defense. Kansas State, an E team. They're not as strong a defense as they usually are. You can go TCU here. You can go total. I'm not sure. I think they're both probably good. Again, if you don't want to bet the road favorite, then it's probably an over. But if you're going over on a Titus, tease it. Kansas State will score something, and their defense isn't as strong, but TCU usually comes. So I think TCU gets the win here, and I think we go over this time. Iowa State, Colorado. Iowa State off of the loss to Cincinnati. They're laying 3, 51.5. Iowa State, very good coach, very good quarterback, Rocco Breck. 18 defense. Colorado struggles with Prime, an E team with the 25 defense. Even though it's in Colorado, Iowa State will take care of business. Only laying 3, a total of 51. Nebraska, Maryland. Nebraska 6.5, 47.5. Okay. Nebraska's an A team, 16 defense. Played Michigan okay, got a late lucky touchdown. Maryland's a B team with 13. They played Washington very good last week, so I don't know. I don't want to take Nebraska on the road. Murray, I don't know. It's a good game to watch. Maybe you go under because it's Nebraska. Titus, I am going to lease. I'm going to tease TCU. Yeah, well, either that or over. They're the flavor of the month. They're a good team, good quarterback, good coach. And K-State's not that strong as they usually are. VTech, Georgia Tech, we talked about. Georgia Tech, 14.5, 55.5. Go Haynes King. Air Force in Vegas. Vegas, 6.5, 64. This down from 66. They're both over teams. Air Force, terrible defense this year, 37. Vegas with the 26, but they both score. At Vegas. Yeah, this probably goes over because Vegas is going to light up Air Force's defense. Navy Temple, very good game here. Navy 9.5, 53.5. Temple's an over team with the 25 defense. Navy the A team with the 20 defense. This game will be close, probably an over game. Arkansas, Tennessee, definitely an over game. Tennessee 12.5, 68.5. Both overs, both 30 defenses. Tennessee at home will light you up. Arkansas, pretty good. They can score also. So, yeah, I think you're going to see an 80-point game like they did with Georgia. UAB, Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic. I mean, I got so many games. It's insane. I don't know if I can like break them down. Like I got 20 games, but I might have to go with all 20. It's crazy. Who do I throw out? Not bet Arkansas, Tennessee over? Like really? I have 6 overs and 2 spreads for my 8-team parlay. We'll make sure one of them's Penn State, please. And if they don't kill the Northwestern off of 2 losses, I don't know what else you can do. Now, they're not a number 3 team in the country, but they got enough talent in at home. Look for them to play, okay, jet lag to UCLA, but not here against Northwestern. So you make sure one of those got to be Penn State. Florida Atlantic 4.5, 69.5. This is another over game. 39 defense for UAB, 33 Florida Atlantic, total 69. Lou Monroe, Coastal Carolina. Lou Monroe 2.5, 44.5. Lou Monroe is a Z team, a road favorite Z team against Coastal Carolina, a W. I don't know how you could, take Lou Monroe as a Z team road favorite. No. San Jose State 1.5, 48.5 to Wyoming. San Jose State's an even team with 28. So again, they probably score about 26. And it's really for me because if they're an over team, they'd score 35, which they don't. Clearly, they're not an under team with the 28 defense. Wyoming is an under team with the 21. They never, even with Josh Allen, Wyoming was not an over team. They barely scored. They just don't score a lot. Plus, it's cold there. Florida and Texas A&M. A&M 7.5, 46.5. Florida, big win last week against Texas. A&M, I like the quarterback. I do not like Florida's quarterback. Terrible against LSU. A&M with the 21 defense, Florida with the 17. Will this game go under like most of the Florida games? Or do I take A&M maybe -1.5 with Reed, the quarterback? So I'm struggling with that. Iowa, Wisconsin, Iowa 35.5 now. I don't know that Iowa's that weak. Wisconsin, strong defense, not a lot of offense. Iowa, I don't know. They're 15 defense. I think this total is a little bit low. It should be like 40. I don't think you're dealing with such a net offense on Iowa, and you probably are with Wisconsin, but I don't love the under here. Kansas, Texas Tech, we talked about. Texas Tech 14, 59.5. I still think Kansas in 20 probably is a play, but I don't want to go against Texas Tech, who's killing everybody. But I don't like the number. You're laying 14. Kansas has Daniels. He's such a good quarterback. He used to suck, but now he's able to actually throw the ball, and he looks better. So Kansas, decent defense. We'll see. Michigan SC 2.5, 57.5. Michigan a B team with the 16 defense. USC an A team with a 23. I've been betting USC over every week. Probably another over. Um, Again, it's I don't think Michigan's going to stop SC. I think that Maivia is a very good quarterback. Michigan, they seem to score on these running plays. I don't know, and their defense is going to struggle here against USC's passing offense. So we'll see. I don't know what to do with it. It's Michigan's not really an over team, but they did play an over with Nebraska. You can go over 51, but USC is an over team, and it's there. But Michigan gets a break at 7:30. Uh, so good for them. Purdue, Minnesota, 7.5, 50. Again, I think Purdue's a good dog here. Good quarterback, good coach, no defense, but Minnesota doesn't really have the offense. Clemson, BC, Clemson 14-54. Clemson stinks. I don't know how they're 14 over anybody. Rice, UTSA 12.5, 49.5. UTSA an over team. Love the quarterback, 30 defense. Rice an under team with the 21. So it offsets. So I'll go over in the game now. You're not going to get help from Rice. So you got to be careful here. Do you take UTSA? Well, maybe. They're explosive. I like McCown, their quarterback. Georgia, Auburn. Georgia, 3.5, 46.5. Both with pretty good defenses, 16 and 18. Both B teams. They don't have great quarterbacks. Look for one of these low-scoring Georgia games. South Carolina, LSU. LSU 9.5, 44.5. Same thing. Look for this game being in the 30s. I mean, total. I mean, no points. South Carolina, again, played Missouri 29-20. I don't think LSU is going to score 29 on them. But we'll see. Again, Bobby, I think I'm going under, Bobby. Troy, Texas State, 8.5, 54.5. Texas State, the over team, very good scoring team. Troy and under with 23. I like Texas State there. BYU, Arizona, BYU 1.5, 47.5. I don't know what to do with this game. It's A against A. It's usually dog. It's 12 defense, 15. So it's probably an under game. New Mexico, Boise 16.5, 59.5. New Mexico's not a bad team. They're a B team, 24 defense. Went into Michigan, lost 34-17. Boise, an over team with a 25 defense, got killed by Notre Dame on 4 interceptions. I think New Mexico's a live dog there. Arizona State, Utah 5.5, 47.5. This is a tough one because I love Utah, especially at home. Arizona State's better in the desert. They're a B team, 21 defense, and Utah's an A with 15. And we love Devin Dampier, the quarterback. Very good quarterback, and he can move around. He's much like the Washington quarterback. So I don't know. I like Utah, but I'm scared of Arizona State. Has a pretty good team. Total wise, it's hard. You got to bet it under because Utah with the 15 defense. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Utah. San Diego State, Nevada. San Diego State 7.5, 41.5. San Diego State a B team. Nevada is pretty bad, a W team. And our last game is Utah State, Hawaii. Utah State 1.5, 57.5. Utah State's an over team with the 30 defense. Hawaii and even with the 24. Initially, Hawaii was the favorite. I loved Utah State as the dog. Now it's switched. Probably still like Utah State. So that is college football. Again, the free pick is the Oklahoma, Texas under. Free pick tonight is Philadelphia. And I'm exhausted. So let's see. Let's check our gold and silver. Gold's 40.14, having a rough day. Silver 50.34, that's not having a rough day. Usually these go together, so this is unusual. You had the big drop just before 10, going from 40.60 to 40.20, then it went down to 40.10 and back to 40.30 and back to 40.10 and now 40.14. So it's funny, it says gold down 33. It's such bullshit. Yeah, everybody's selling gold. So, it'll hold over 4,000. So that's good. And silver 50.28. So that's over 50. We want it to end over 50, but it never really ends. It just keeps, then China picks it up at 6 o'clock and off they go. But it's good to see silver 50.33 and gold 40.15 making its move up. So different times of day, there's buying and then there's selling, and it's all options. It's all bullshit paper. It's not real. The real price of gold is times 10, 40.15, so it's 40,000. The real price of silver is probably times 10, so it's probably 500. Again, they're suppressing the price with these options, which is bullshit. It's not real, and that's why you don't worry about it. Let's see. Did I have anything on YouTube? I thought Daniel Craig was a terrible James Bond. I thought the James Bond movies with him were terrible. Most of the movies were just missions, right? Like Mission Impossible. You go on the mission and that's it. But to kill him at the end, what is with these movies killing the people at the end of the movies? I really don't like that. What is the point? And then you have, I thought the storylines were terrible. I thought he was better in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I think was his best movie. And I think he should have stuck with that line. And there's 2 other dragon tattoos that they didn't do. They should have done with him and that other girl in that American version of it. That was very disappointing. Let's see. This is a pretty clever one. This is going to be how Caesar built a bridge against, I think, the Germans or something. This is a very clever one.
Caesar's bridge over the Rhine was built by 40,000 men in only 10 days. Construction began in 55 BC by driving double wooden piles obliquely into the riverbed with pile drivers mounted on rafts. Each pair was then bound together, forming the backbone of the bridge. The piles were connected by crossbeams. Then joists were laid between them, and woven twigs completed the road surface. Remarkably, the stronger the current, the stronger the bridge stood. Upstream, protective piles and barriers were set to deflect any logs that might be sent to destroy the bridge. When finished, Caesar crossed the 400-meter bridge with his 8 legions to the other bank. He was the first Roman commander ever to cross the Rhine. But the tribes had already withdrawn. After burning a few villages without resistance, he recrossed and cut the bridge down. The bridge had stood for just 18 days. A feat of speed, power, and ingenuity, it showcased the unmatched engineering and military skills. The American author Ralph...
You gotta love the Romans, don't you?
Waldo Emerson said, "The desire of gold is not for gold, it's for the means of freedom and benefit, not just for gold itself." That means gold is for, as we are all the time telling our investors, gold is for wealth preservation. That is freedom. We are now entering an era when the financial system and the monetary system are going to implode. Whether that happens in the next few years or it takes longer, it doesn't matter. The time is right now to ensure your wealth or whatever savings you have. And the best means of doing that, as Emerson said, gold is for freedom. It means you hold gold in physical form, stored outside the banking system in a safe jurisdiction, and you don't worry about it thereafter. You don't look at the price. You don't look at the fluctuations. You just know that you are going to have life insurance here that will last for you and for your family.
That's the bottom line. So why is gold freedom? It's because you can't destroy it. What's the problem with the dollar and the dollar system is that you can print it and it's not backed by anything. So you print it and print it and print it, and then it loses value. And this is why every paper fiat system goes to zero, because the people in charge do not understand that, should not be in charge. You cannot, the concept of having money without backed by anything is ludicrous. It doesn't, it makes no sense. If you have money, you must back it by gold or silver, right? That's the whole point. You have to back it. You can't sit there and have just have paper. It's me coming up with picks for football. I have to back it up with explanation and reason for us to play the game, right? Oklahoma, Texas, two great defenses, no quarterbacks, should be low scoring. That's the backup for the pick. There's the backup for this is gold and silver, but you don't have it. So if this is naked and not backed by anything, this will never survive because the power in charge are too stupid to understand that, oh, just print us some more money, JP Morgan. Oh, yeah, JP Morgan, print us $1 million, print us $1 million. And so they print and print and print. And then they have this large debt because of the treasury bonds, because they spend more than they bring in. And that's the problem with government. There's nobody in charge going, hey, wait, we only got $10 trillion. We can't spend 15, but they do. And that's the problem. So you keep spending more than you have. And it doesn't work. A child knows that, yet people in government don't. Well, we'll just keep printing more money. And then nobody wants your treasuries because they're worthless. Who's going to buy your bonds? A bond means it's an IOU, which means I'll buy your bonds for $100,000 for X amount of years, and then I'm going to turn it in, and I want my 100,000 plus interest. Nobody's getting their 100,000 back. The interest is very low, 2 or 3%. So you're kind of, only a moron would buy your bonds, and that's kind of what's happening here. So you must understand that, and apparently people in government don't. So the need for gold is because the morons are going to print the dollar to nothing, because it's the nature of it. The guy with the printing press is going to print. Why does JP Morgan have the printing press for the Federal Reserve is beyond me. You should never have a bank. It should be a monopoly anyway. You should have competition. You should have 5 or 6 banks doing it. So it's just stupid. But that's where we are with it. But that's what we know. And if we know that the dollars are not going to be backed by gold, they're going to go to zero. So in 1971, when we went off the gold standard, you should have immediately bought gold. Had I been old enough, I would have done class and at 12 years old and said, buy gold, buy gold, buy gold. It's $35 an ounce. It's going to go to 1,000, and everybody would have laughed at me. But I would always have the last laugh because I know what's going to happen. That's the beauty. If you know what's going to, if you understand it and you know what's going to happen, it's not hard to go buy gold and silver, right? Because you know what's going to happen. You know their prices are going to go up. You know they're manipulated, so they're not real. But you can see even with the manipulation, silver now is over 50. Gold's over 4,000. I was watching this one idiot. I'll show you hers. She doesn't really understand Um, so this girl, this won't end well, really doesn't get it. I won't waste too much time. We'll just say a few minutes of it.
Take your money to the next level with high yield cash from Robinhood Gold. Sign up now for just $5 a month.
Most banks give you 0.4% interest on your savings. Kraken pays up to 4.1% APR on USDG, and it gets paid weekly.
Trust. Gold is at over $4,000. Congratulations, I suppose. Except this isn't something to cheer about. Because if you think you've missed the boat, you haven't. You're still standing in the harbour. Many still don't even know that there's even a lifeboat. And if you're waiting for a pullback or planning to take profits, well, maybe stop and ask yourself, why did gold reach $4,000? Because this is not about a gold rally.
Yes, it is.
Have you ever entered an address into the sat-nav and followed the directions only to find yourself in an unfamiliar place and maps declaring you have reached your destination, and then you don't know where to go next? Because that's pretty much what has happened for many who have been watching the gold price of late.
I don't know what she's talking about. Just because it hit $4,000, we're waiting for it to hit $5,000, and we're waiting for it to hit $10,000, and it's going to hit $20,000. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know why she thinks like this. She's obviously an idiot. People like this should be shot. You know, it hit $4,000. It's on its way to 10. Of course, it's going to hit. It's going to hit $5,000. You should never profit take, because I say, if you do, you got to get back into this, and you don't want to. You're getting out of this, not into it. People should be buying gold. Yeah, I mean, it's not late. It's 4,000. It's more expensive. You'd have done better at 1,500, 1,700, like we did, but it's still going to go up from 4,000 to 10 to 20. The dollar's going to go out. So you're going to need some money, which is going to be gold and silver. So yes, you want to buy as much as you can. However, I don't know why she's lost. Let's try to figure out what the fuck this idiot's talking about.
You have watched it cross $4,000 an ounce, something that we have been talking about for a while now, as if it was the destination. And now you don't know what comes next. Well, gold didn't hit $4,000 in a vacuum. Much like that address that you put into the sat-nav, there's a reason for it getting here. There is a bigger intention here. Gold didn't burst through some invisible ceiling overnight or wake up one morning to find itself worth more. The headlines will, of course, call this a rally. They will talk about record highs and historic milestones as if we have witnessed a kind
They won't talk about it at all.
Metals. But there is nothing to celebrate here. Because when your thermometer is telling you that you have a fever, you don't carry on as normal. You look for the cause of the fever. And gold at $4,000 is that fever made visible.
All right, so she doesn't know what she's talking about. So let me add a comment. All right, so I'll show you my note. Gold 10,000 is next. Like, hello, what fever? What are you talking about? Very clueless. Inflation is why you get out of paper into real money. The professor. So what is she talking about? There's nothing wrong. Where else are you going to be, in dollars and watch the dollar go to zero? So everything we're doing is perfectly what we should be doing. You're buying gold and silver. You're getting out of dollars. The dollars are worthless. Gold and silver keeps going up. What's the problem? What illness? 4,000, that isn't the end point. 10,000 is not the end point. 50,000 is not. It's just going to keep going up and up and up because more people are going to need it to get out of the dollars all over the world. What's the problem?
Because it is the market quietly whispering that the patient, i.e. the modern financial order, is not well. The remarkable thing about this price is not that it is high, but that it has so much further to go. Because if you look around, it is clear that the so-called pillars of the post-war world, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, Japan, are each in their own ways coming apart. The United States...
They're all inflating their dollars. It's very simple. And we're not looking at... Gold was never... 4,000 was never the goal. It was just another milestone to hit. And 10,000 is not the goal. And 50,000 is not the goal. There is no goal. It's just let's watch gold go up and hold it and don't profit take and don't get back into the dollar and just go. And the financial systems are lowing. Well, that's what we're supposed to do, is get out of dollars and go into gold and silver, because they're printing the money and they are the ones causing the financial systems to go. And the fact it's all over the world, it's even better for gold and silver. So I don't understand a word she's saying. Makes no sense.
Unable to agree on its own budget, has again shut itself down. France, once the heart of the European ambition, now resembles a revolving door of governments and debts. The UK, ever nostalgic for the empire, has taken to expanding surveillance instead of production. And Russia is locked in a grinding war that has consumed both treasure and legitimacy. China, calm and deliberately, quietly extends its reach while pretending to withdraw. This is something Sun Tzu would be proud of. It's like straight out of a page of The Art of War. And Japan, last but definitely not least, was where to start here. Quite simply, we have a major economy whose own population trusts neither the currency nor bonds, which is growing into a global problem. And the yen, which was once the safe haven of Asian currencies, is rapidly becoming the problem child that no one takes responsibility for. These are permanent members of the UN Security Council. They are supposed architects of order, and yet their currencies, the very instruments of that order, have been eroded by the same policies designed to project strength. The dollar, the yuan, the pound, the euro, the yen have all lost colossal ground against gold. In 2025 alone, the dollar's purchasing power fell by half. The yuan followed, and others, they're not far behind. Gold has not exploded, it is just the measuring stick. When your thermometer flashes 40, nothing has changed within the workings of the thermometer. It's the patient that is changing. And of course, the West's financial collapse is not going unnoticed. For the first time in modern history, Asian economies generate more prosperity trading with each other than with the West. They no longer...
Yeah, it's called BRICS. All right. So this girl doesn't really quite understand what the hell she's talking about. Nobody has said 4,000 is the goal, or that's the... No, we don't have a goal. We're simply merely saying it'll hit 4,000. And then what do we say? It's going to hit 5,000 on its way to 10,000, on its way to 20,000. It's going to keep going up because all the countries have this bullshit money. And as this goes out, because these idiots are all doing the same thing, they're all printing their fiat money, which is not backed by anything. And the more they print, the less it's worth. And everybody's going to drive to gold and silver, and the price is going to go up and up and up and up and up and keep going up, because there's no choice, because there is no other lifeboat. It's gold and silver, or that's it. You can't go to Swiss franc or British pound or anything. Those are all worthless too, because they're all not backed by anything. The key is it's got to be backed. You hear me talk bad about Bitcoin. It's not backed by anything. Not only is it not real, and we don't know, at least we can see what a euro looks like. You can hold it. You can't do that with digital. For some reason, people are thinking digital money has a value. It doesn't. Not only is it not backed by gold and silver, you can't even see it. There's no such thing. Well, what does it look like? Nobody knows. I can't touch it. I can't put it in my bank. I can't put it in my safe. What do I do with this digital shit? So don't get caught up into believing that digital stuff is worth anything. It isn't. How can it have value? You can't see the fucking stuff. So until you can see it, and it isn't, Bitcoin is not the B, the gold coin with the B is not Bitcoin. It's called gold with the B design. Like, why are you trying to make Bitcoin gold? You made it into nothing. So understand that. But everybody sees the value and they go, oh, it's worth $100,000. So I made $100,000 and I bought it at 5 cents, and it's now everybody bought it at 5 cents, and it's now worth 100,000. Sell it then, because you're in dollars, and when the dollar goes to zero, 100,000 Bitcoin's worth zero. Except for Luke, he thinks it's worth a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin's worth a Bitcoin. That doesn't have a value. Gold has a value. So Michael Saylor's saying, well, we'll just kill the dollar. That'll kill gold. No, it won't kill gold. You can't kill gold. It doesn't need the dollar to have value. It just is, the gold is the value. The mantle card is the value, not that it's in dollars or not. So if the dollar collapses, gold doesn't collapse. Gold goes higher. So these people are so stupid. They just show you how stupid they are. They don't understand. Gold does not need the dollar to be valued. It might be valued in dollars, but it doesn't need it. Gold will end up being, oh, you want to buy a house with 2 ounces of gold? That's what gold's worth, the house. And it doesn't need to be valued in dollars. That's just the way it is. It doesn't mean it has to be. So like this Canadian club, let's say it's worth $100. So the dollar goes to zero. Is this worth zero? Only in dollar terms, but in gold, it could be worth a 1/4 ounce of gold, right? So in dollar terms, yes, gold will go to zero, but we don't care about dollar terms. In gold terms, gold will buy you a house with 2 ounces or a nice Mercedes or whatever. That's what gold will do, is it'll keep its value. It doesn't need dollars to have the value. And I don't know why people who don't understand it shouldn't be talking as if, oh, well, if the dollar goes out, then gold loses its value and Bitcoin will be the king. Oh, no, you're wrong, because Bitcoin will lose its value because Bitcoin isn't worth anything because it's not real, where gold is. So again, stuff like that. But I can't. Every time I see her, I give her a negative. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Here's a good one. My financial advisor told me not to bother with gold 2.5 years ago. So I bought quite a lot of physical gold. I have now doubled my investment in 2 years. He has told me I've been lucky. Yep, I sure have. There you go. My financial advisor told me not to bother with gold. Probably wanted him in stocks because he doesn't get commission in gold. This is why you have to be careful who you talk to. This is the biggest thing I say. It's who you talk to. You want to listen to a financial advisor. How's he make his money? Commission. Commission of what? Stocks, bonds, maybe real estate trusts, annuities. That's how the financial advisor makes their money. So why would he ever tell you to go into gold? So this is a perfect example. Don't bother with gold. So he went and bought a lot of physical. So the question is, why are you listening to a financial advisor? Me, gold 10,000 is next. What fever? What are you talking about? Very clueless. Inflation is why you get out of paper into real money. The professor. Gold and silver flying in fiat terms, exciting and worrying feeling. Why are you worried? What are you worried about? What I've been thinking for some years, and there's another point you didn't make with today's increasing digital surveillance of personal bank accounts and traditional investments, equity and bonds, holding physical gold and other physical items of value, baseball cards, Rolexes, offers an opportunity to escape the asset-grabbing attention of the state. But yeah, I mean, we don't need gold at 4,000 to realize the system's blown up. All you got to do is watch all the money being printed in a $37 trillion debt. That's enough to know that the boat's sinking. The Titanic hitting the icebergs, all you need to know that it's going to sink, and you need to get on the lifeboat. So we don't need a $4,000 or a $5,000 gold price to realize this. We realize it because they keep printing the money, and you got a $37 trillion debt. That's all you need to understand. Forget the 4,000. Forget when it hits 5,000, when it hits 10,000. More for us. So this girl, clueless. A good match, Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I was watching yesterday. This is an older match. She didn't woo that much. A little disappointing. See, I hate this video. Zelensky overthrown. Well, he's not overthrown. So he's saying he might be overthrown. Well, I don't. You're putting out he's overthrown. You're not right. So I hate those videos. Anyway, not a lot. Car market's dead. The housing market's dead. The banks are dying. Make sure you have your money out of the banks and out of the stock market. You've got to think fifth dimensionally, as what I tell you. In other words, the market's going to crash. So you get out of it now. You don't wait till it crashes to get out. And if it doesn't crash and you're in the gold, then you're making money in gold. But it will crash. It's how severe. The housing market's crashing because people are buying houses like they're baseball cards. You don't buy $300,000-$400,000 houses. You don't buy 10 of them as investments. They're not investments. They're not investments like a Mantle card or like our gold and silver. They're not. They're just a house. How much demand is there? Well, if I need a house, I buy a house. I don't need 2 of them or 3 of them. And I'm certainly, if I want investment, I'm buying gold and silver. That's my investment, not a house. Who thought a house is an investment? People come up to me, well, real estate's an investment. I go, what world are you in? Just buy the fucking gold and silver and shut the fuck up and just sit back and watch it go up. Why do you have to make it more difficult than it is? Titus, that was the best Ric Flair. Yeah, buy as much gold and silver as possible. Well, what you're doing is you're getting out a dollar. So you have 100 grand in your bank of this worthless dollars, but you got to get out of it now before the bank takes it and doesn't let you have it because they're shorting gold and silver and they can't recover because it's not going down. So they have to get out of their gold and silver. And all the banks are long gold, which means they all want gold to go up except for the Fed. The Fed doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know, or they're trying to buy it and keep the price down, but you can see they can't. As gold's gone over 4,000 and silver's now over 50. So keep that in mind. When you do your spreadsheets, you should have, I have 1,000 ounces of silver times $50 gold, and my value of my silver is X. And in gold, I have 100 ounces times 4,050, and that's my value of my gold. And you can watch it go to 4,500 and go to 5,000, and you go, fuck, I just made more money. Because that's the only way you really recognize it. Because otherwise, you have 100 ounces of gold. It's just 100 ounces of gold. You're not seeing the value increase, and the same with silver. So that's where we're at. Excuse me. So I need to eat something soon. I was going to meet Alyssa, but apparently not. I'll meet her tomorrow, but she's like that. Same thing with Daria. I'm waiting to meet. So I'm asking her, why aren't we meeting? And she's not answering, and I'm getting pissed. And I'm going, fuck it, no more rent. I'm tired of that game. And we'll see. But I'm getting tired of it. It's like waiting for a steak, right? So you go get a steak, and I'm watching Gordon Ramsay, and people are waiting for an hour, and they leave. They walk out. They go, I can't wait 2 hours for a steak. And that's how it is with Daria. I'm waiting to meet her, but I'm getting so tired of meeting her. I don't want to meet her anymore. It's like, it's too stressful to wait to meet you. I mean, Jenna, I can go meet. If I said, hey, let's meet in a month, we'd meet in a month. So I don't know what Daria's doing. But it looks bad for her. So I'm like, okay, no more rent, no more food. You're on your own. Oh, I need it. No, you don't need me. You should be able to take care of yourself. You're 35 years old. So do that. So anyway, it's just starting to get old and tiring, and I don't want to play. And I told her I'm in my 60s now. I'm not going to sit here and wait. And I don't think you're honest with me that you want to meet. So that's the bottom line. Anyway, that's what's going on. So we covered football, we covered gold and silver. Let's take one last look at our value. Silver slid back to 49.78. We're not worried. Gold 40.11. So this will be back over 50. Once it breaks it, yeah, there's a little bit of down, but then it'll go back up and it'll hit 50 again. And the same thing with gold, 40.11. It'll go towards 41. But it is funny. We're like, okay, it's been 40. It broke 40. Now let's go to 41, and then let's go to 42. And silver, oh, it broke 50. Now let's get to 60. And that's where they're headed. And they'll just keep going. So that's where we're at. You was in your 50s with her, Professor. No, I've known Daria. I met her, and then we didn't talk, and then I met her, and probably the last 4 years. So I wasn't in my 50s. But it was based on, see, the problem is the war hit, and then her daughter got sick, so she keeps using these excuses. I'm going, I don't care that your daughter got sick. I don't care there's a war on. I could meet other Russian girls in Turkey. It's not a big deal. So why is it with you? And she won't meet. And I'm like, okay, fine. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, I'm getting tired of waiting for the meal, right? You want to cook. When's dinner? And I can't wait any longer. I'm just losing interest. It's just, there's no point. If we're not going to meet, then what am I doing, right? So I'm basically helping you with rent, but we're never going to meet. Seems kind of weird. So I asked her point blank, do you have a husband or boyfriend, or is the mafia preventing us from meeting? And she didn't answer. So I'm not talking to her until she answers that question. And we'll see. But I want to know the truth, and I want to know the answer. If I'm going to give you money, then I expect the answer, because I'm not going to just I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to just keep giving you. But when I asked her to meet Christmas, she said no. She said, when it's convenient for me. And I go, well, then I'll give you money when it's convenient for me, which is, I'm not selling my gold to give you money. So fuck off. It's just, what are we waiting for here? Are you really interested, or are you not interested? And that's the problem when she's in Russia, but I can certainly meet her. You could get visas to go to Russia now, but you got to fly through Turkey to get there. But, this is why I have 2 or 3 girlfriends. You just don't worry about the one. If she wants to meet, fine. Let me know when you want to meet. Otherwise, I'm going over here, meeting this girl, and don't really care. I mean, Life's too short to be all stressed and worried. And right now, I'm not gonna. You're not making to quote it, you're not making my life better with all this stress, waiting to meet you. When are we going to meet? Oh, it's another year has passed. That's stressful. I'm not interested in that. Trying to stay stoic. Stoic says if the girl creates negative or stress, you leave her, because it should add to the experience of life. Should be, you look forward to seeing her and everything else. So I'm not. She can do as she pleases, but I said, well, when you're ready to meet, let me know. Until then, I'm going to stop asking. And by the way, go pay your own rent and your food and whatever else. I don't really care. I can't control it if that's what if you're not going to, so there's got to be a give and take. If I'm giving you rent, I expect to meet you. And if I'm not meeting you, then I'm not getting any benefit from it. So fuck off. All right. I got to go put in these football picks into Teaserking. Tonight's game, Philadelphia, is posted. 2 locks are already posted for college football. Free pick is the Oklahoma-Texas game under and the Philadelphia game tonight. I don't normally free Thursday nights, but pros there's a few games I could go, but nothing really sticks out. There's too many shitty teams playing each other, which you can't really bet. And then, a lot of these West Coast teams going to the East Coast all at 1:00 on the same Sunday. Like, what the fuck is that? So you got to be careful there. Anyway, Vegas is getting too involved with football, with all these little bullshit things they're doing. And let's play Thursday night games and go to London and go to Brazil and go to Ireland. And, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's getting more and more difficult. And then the quarterbacks stink and the coaches stink. So it's getting a little bit harder to predict because the variables are changing so much that you need data with the variables. So you need 8 or 9 games, with Cam Ward or, Caleb or whatever. And that's what we don't have. All right, let's see. What did Silver do? God, Silver got over 51. And then it slid down to 50. So dropped $1 at 10 o'clock and then went back to 51 and then dropped $1 at noon. So it was, we have $51 silver twice and it goes down $1. That's what kind of crap is that? Welcome to the world of options. But we've got gold at 4,008. So it's just timing, not to worry. All right, that's it. So football, we're all set. 2 locks posted in college. I don't know if I'll have a pro lock. Maybe. But I did play Philly today. Really just because they're off the loss. I can't get too excited about it. I'm certainly not going to lock it. And it's really, we're going against Jackson Dart and Philly with the push tush. If they get close, they'll score. So it's stuff like that. Anyway, that's about it. So I'm on my antibiotics and hopefully I'll be better today, tomorrow. And we'll see. All right. www.teaserking.com. Anything else? I don't know why Vegas got their hands on so many games. Well, because the bookies are losing money. The casinos are losing money, right? Because nobody wants to go to Vegas because they made all the prices too high. So again, the market to go to Vegas is here. $2 blackjack, no parking, no resort fee, and $5 or free liquor when I'm gambling and cheap meals, right? The buffet, the food court. And you're up here. So we're not going because you're too expensive. Just like the $50 rips, we're not going. We'll pay 30, we're not paying 50. So you have that, and that's the problem. So people are in Vegas so because they're losing money because nobody's coming, Vegas then says, well, we're going to start fixing the football games, and we're going to change the odds, and we're going to have all this bullshit. That's why, because they're losing money, because they don't understand that the cost is too high, keeping everybody away. So that's what it is. You're welcome, Titus. Good to see you. And good luck this week. But yeah, a ton of games. College will be huge this week. Pros, I've got my 5 or 6 games. It's just getting so scrambled that it's really hard, because you've got like Detroit playing KC, and then you got New England playing New Orleans. I mean, you can't bet on New England, New Orleans, and it's hard to bet on Detroit KC. So you have some games like that. You don't really have, like today, Philly and the Giants. That's good for us to bet. You got a strong team playing a weak team. You're only laying 7. I'm sure they'll win by, just win. It'll be 1. They obviously are going to win by more than 1. But that's what we need. That's what we live on, is that imbalance, that strength playing weakness. We're betting against weakness, but we have it in college. We don't have it much here. All right, I'm going to go post. I'm going to eat, swimming later, and that's about it. So have a good day, everybody. If you need me, email me, www.teaserking.com. On the homepage near the bottom, there's my email. So anyway, take care and have a good day. All right, take care, everybody. Yeah, Titus, I know I just know about economics, and it's a simple comment. If you make things cost more than the market will bear, it's not going to work. All right, I'll talk to you.